Board Game Social, hosted by Dean Leggett. Board Game Social, hosted by Dean Leggett.
Greetings everyone, this is Dean with Board Game Social. I'm here today to talk about a party game that maybe it's not really a party game, but it's certainly a game that you can play at social get-togethers and gatherings, but it's not going to be one of those over-the-top, raucous, put a lampshade on your head type of party games. This game is all about wordplay and understanding your partner and their frame of reference, and I'm speaking about none other than Codenames. Now, Codenames has been out for a couple years now, and it's received a lot of buzz. I mean, within the board gaming community, it's very popular, it's very well known. But outside the board gaming community, I have found that it is still somewhat of an unknown. And so I really had never planned on doing a video for this game because, you know, they've been done to death. But over the Thanksgiving holidays, I realized that there are still a lot of people that this is very new for. And my wife had even said that there were teachers at the school where she was at that were asking if she knew anything about this game. So with that being said, I figured I'd put together a little video on a quick how to play, what do I think about it, and share it with you guys. So how do you play the game? Well, you're going to set up the game board in a 5x5 grid. That's 5 across, 5 down, and the nice thing about Codenames is that they have the clues on both sides, so if you're looking at it from an upside down position, you can still see the clue. The teams are going to try to give out clues to where their teammates can make the correct guesses, and the first team that covers up all their clues correctly is the winner of the game. If you're the red team, you're using the red cards. If you're the blue team, you're using the blue cards if you guess correctly. If you make an incorrect guess and it's an innocent bystander, you're simply going to cover up that word with an innocent bystander card. You lose your turn and the play goes to the other team. The difference with Codenames is that you're not just doing a one clue, one clue, one clue, one clue. You have the option to let your team guess multiple times on your turn by giving a clue that is vague enough or ambiguous enough that multiple cards could apply to them. If I say instrument 1, perhaps I'm thinking of the word flute. If I say, let's say I say mountains, okay, and I say mountains 2, well, maybe I'm going with Alps. Maybe I'm going with Himalayas. Maybe I'm going with Olympus. Yeah, there's various ways that they can be interpreted. But the key is that I'm trying to give words that only my team is supposed to get. How do I know which words that my team is supposed to get? Well, it's all on the back of this handy dandy card. If I am the blue team, I'm trying to get my team to guess the clues that would line up with the blue. You'll see it's a 5x5 grid. They line up with 5x5 pattern. If I'm the red team, I only want to give clues that they will guess red cards. The brown spaces on there are what they call innocent bystanders. They don't belong to either team. If you guess them and you go by accident, then you just lose your turn and it goes to the other player. You'll notice also that there's a black X on the card. That black X is the assassin. If either team at any time gives a clue and their clue givers mistakenly guess the one that is the black X, then they automatically lose the game. So let's say I use the word mountains and I say a number. I say mountains 3. Okay, so that means I think there are at least 3 cards out here that you should associate the word mountains to. And my team can get 3 guesses because I said the number 3. Had I said mountain 1, then I'm thinking there's only one word that mountain applies to, and they're going to get their one guess. At any time during your team's turn, they can take one extra guess than the number that you gave. So if I said mountain 1 and they make a guess and it's correct, they can take an additional guess if they think maybe there's another word out there that is associated with it, or maybe from a previous turn they didn't get a clue correct and they want to try to guess at it again. You can always take one more guess than the number associated with the clue. but your team has to always take at least one guess. Even if you say instrument 1, they have to make one guess. Even if they have no clue, they're just not seeing it, they still have to make a guess. But if I said instrument 3, they have to make one guess, but then they can stop. They don't have to go up to that number. They just have to make the one minimum guess per turn. The fun and the joy in this game is when you give a clue with a with a 2 or a 3, and then they're really trying to rack their brain, trying to figure out what it is you're seeing that they're not seeing. And this game all comes down to frame of reference. What do you associate that word with? Because I can tell you, a lot of times it's very different. If I hear the word draft, maybe I'm thinking about a written draft. Maybe they're thinking about a draft beer. Maybe they're thinking about being drafted into the Army. There's lots of different ways of interpreting that word. So frame of reference is really crucial in this game. The only knock that I really have on this game is that's more of a, it's how you divide up the teams. I've tried it with mixed teams of multi-generational people. I've tried it with just the same kind of kids versus adults. And I can tell you that multi-generational teams don't work nearly as well as keeping teams more within their own generation. And sometimes I know that sounds weird in games, like you don't have the kids team up against the adults because that wouldn't be fair. In this game, it's very fair because teenagers have the same frame of reference for words. Senior citizens have the same frame of reference for words. Senior citizens and kids trying to guess the same word based off of a clue, an utter nightmare when it comes to holiday gameplay. So it can really grind the game down to a halt or make a lot of people a little bit angry. But at the same time, some people can find it interesting as well, and maybe they laugh about it. But it can lead to quite a bit of frustration with that. But in ours, maybe that was just a fluke within our family. Maybe our family doesn't play these games very well. But that might be the only knock on it. Now, Codenames also has a couple expansions to it. They have Codename Pictures, which just replaces these cards with pictures. And then they have Codenames, I think, Deep Undercover, which is more an adult-themed version of the game. I haven't played either one of those. I probably never will. Codenames it's a fun game. I would pull it out in the right situation. Like I said, holiday get-togethers are okay. Maybe in a classroom setting it would be good. But it certainly wouldn't want to be a game that I'd want to go to a meetup or to a convention and play with total strangers where you have no frame of reference at all as to what they're thinking about. So with that being said, check it out if you haven't seen it already. I'm sure you probably have, but maybe you're a non-traditional gamer coming across this video. This game is readily available at Target and Barnes & Noble. I think it's $20 price point. It's a fun little game for $20 for what it is. There's not a ton of components to it. It's a bunch of cards, and I forget how many cards there are. I don't have them all with me because I'm out of town. But it has a high replayability. One of the nice things about it is, it comes with a bunch of these different cards, which changes the cards that you're associated with. And that, of course, is going to change also on how you put this card in the holder as well. So within each card, there's 4 different ways of doing it. So with that being said, Codenames by CGE Games. Check it out. Let me know in the comments below. Maybe you've played it before. Maybe you've had different experience with the multi-generational. But either way, on behalf of Board Game Social, take care of yourselves and your loved ones. See ya.